A family was brutally attacked in their remote farmhouse, and the killer stayed for days. I'm driving through Vietnam's dark, misty streets at night to share 3 true countryside horror stories that will chill you to the bone. Buckle up. These mysteries remain unsolved, and the quiet rural landscapes they unfold in will make you rethink what's hiding beyond the city lights. Story 1. The Hinterkaifeck Murders, 1922. In the heart of the Bavarian countryside, nestled among rolling hills and dense forests, stood a small farm known as Hinterkaifeck. The Gruber family, Andreas, his wife Cecilia, their daughter Victoria, her 2 children, and a maid, lived a simple, isolated life here, far from the nearest village. But in the early spring of 1922, something unsettling began to stir. For weeks, the family reported strange occurrences, faint footsteps echoing from the attic at night, a set of house keys that mysteriously vanished, and eerie footprints in the snow leading to the farm, but none leading away. Andreas, a gruff and solitary man, brushed off the signs, even as the maid quit in terror, claiming the house was haunted. Then, on the night of March 31st, tragedy struck. One by one, the family was lured into the barn under unknown pretenses. There, a shadowy figure attacked them with a mattock, a heavy farming tool, striking with ruthless precision. 4 were found in the barn, their bodies stacked like firewood, while the youngest child and the maid were found inside the house, their lives taken just as brutally. What makes this case truly chilling is what happened next. Evidence showed the intruder stayed in the house for days after the attack, cooking meals in the kitchen, eating the family's food, and even feeding their livestock as if nothing had happened. Smoke was seen rising from the chimney, and neighbors noticed the animals were cared for, yet no one suspected the horror inside. When the bodies were finally discovered days later, the scene was so gruesome that investigators could barely stomach it. Despite extensive searches, the killer was never identified. Some whispered it was a vengeful neighbor. Others believed it was a drifter who knew the family's routines. To this day, Hinterkaifeck remains one of Germany's most haunting unsolved cases, a grim reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the quiet countryside. Story 2. The Keddy Cabin Murders, 1981. Tucked away in the rugged Sierra Nevada mountains of Northern California lies the small resort town of Keddy, a peaceful retreat for families seeking a quiet escape. In the spring of 1981, Glenna Sharp, a single mother of 5, rented Cabin 28 at the Keddy Resort with her children, hoping for a fresh start after a difficult divorce. The cabin, surrounded by towering pines and a serene creek, seemed like the perfect place to rebuild their lives. But on the night of April 11th, that peace was shattered. Glenna, her 15-year-old daughter Sue, and a family friend, Dana Wingate, were in the cabin while the younger children slept in a nearby room. Around midnight, a group of unknown assailants entered the cabin. What happened next was a scene of unimaginable horror. Glenna, Sue, and Dana were attacked with knives and a hammer, their lives taken in a frenzy of violence. The walls were stained with blood, and the furniture was upturned in a chaotic struggle. But the youngest child, 5-year-old Tina Sharp, was missing, taken from the cabin without a trace. The 3 other children, miraculously unharmed, were found asleep in the next room, claiming they heard nothing. The discovery the next morning sent shockwaves through the small community. Neighbors recalled hearing faint screams in the night, but no one had thought to check. Investigators were baffled. No signs of forced entry, no clear motive, and too many suspects. The local sheriff's office was overwhelmed, and rumors of a cover-up began to spread. Some pointed fingers at a group of local troublemakers known to frequent the resort. Others suspected a drifter passing through the area. Years later, in 1984, a fragment of Tina's skull was found miles away, confirming her tragic fate, but her full remains were never recovered. The Keddy Cabin murders remain unsolved, and Cabin 28, now demolished, left behind whispers of a lingering darkness in those quiet mountains. Story 3. The Villisca Axe Murders, 1912. In the early 1900s, Villisca, Iowa, was a quaint farming town where everyone knew each other, a place where doors were often left unlocked. The Moore family, Josiah, his wife Sarah, their 4 children, and 2 young guests, the Stillinger sisters, lived in a modest 2-story house on the edge of town. On June 9, 1912, the family attended a church event, returning home late with the Stillinger girls, who were staying the night. The small house, surrounded by cornfields and bathed in moonlight, seemed peaceful as they went to bed. But by morning, a nightmare had unfolded. An unknown intruder entered the house in the dead of night, carrying an axe taken from the family's own backyard. One by one, the 8 sleeping occupants were struck down with brutal force. Their lives ended as they lay in their beds. The scene discovered the next day was beyond comprehension. Blood soaked the mattresses, and the walls bore the marks of a violent frenzy. But the details were even more disturbing. Every mirror in the house was covered with cloth, as if the killer couldn't bear to see their own reflection. A slab of bacon, inexplicably, was left on the kitchen floor, a bizarre clue that puzzled investigators. The killer had also locked the doors before leaving, ensuring the horror wouldn't be discovered immediately. Neighbors reported hearing faint moans early that morning, but fear kept them from investigating. When the bodies were finally found, the town of Villisca was forever changed. Suspicion fell on several locals, a traveling preacher, a disgruntled businessman, even a neighbor with a grudge. But no one was ever convicted. The investigation was marred by mishandling, with townsfolk trampling the crime scene before police arrived. The house still stands today, and visitors report eerie experiences, whispers in the halls, cold spots, and the feeling of being watched. Some say the spirits of the Moore family and the Stillinger girls remain, trapped in the tragedy of that night. The Villisca Axe murders remain one of America's most haunting, unsolved mysteries, a testament to the terror that can strike even the most idyllic countryside towns. As I drive through Vietnam's shadowy streets, the fog creeping around me like a shroud, these stories remind us that the countryside isn't always the peaceful escape we imagine. Beneath the serene landscapes and starry nights, the darkest secrets can fester, waiting to be uncovered. What's the creepiest countryside tale you've heard? Share in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more roadside tales every day. See you in the next drive.